All right. Y'all, I was brave enough to press record a second time, so we're going to try a second video. So I can clearly remember, this is going to seem like unconnected to the Tim Keller quote, but we'll wrap it around at the end. Okay. I can clearly remember sitting in St. Wenceslaus in Northeast Iowa, reading the bulletin and reading the statement that a gift is not a reflection of the receiver, but rather a reflection of the giver. Whew. Okay. All right. So then I'm just sitting with that. Like, I had to read it a couple of times, like, just deeply impacted me. And naturally, because it's in the church bulletin, gets you thinking about God's love, right? And how oftentimes we feel like that love is a reflection of trying to be worthy of it, trying to earn it, that reflection of the God's love is because of me, the receiver, when in reality, it is because of him, the giver. And so I started thinking about like his love is a free gift. And we twist that a lot of times when we try to live that out as human to human interaction. And sometimes we say it's a free gift, but what we really think or what we really mean is that it has to be earned. But you realize that being earned then is not a gift, it's a reward. Or it has to be something that you pay for. Like, you pay for this to receive it in good deeds, in right actions, and, you know, in whatever you're calling currency. But again, that's not a gift, that's a transaction. Maybe it's you give it, but it has to be paid back. So it's not an immediate, you give me this, I give you that. But at some point down the road, you need to. That's not a gift, that's a loan. And it's also freely given, no strings attached. I will give you this because you want it, but I also need this. That's bait. I'm going to reel you in with what you need by tying it to what I need. And so we often misrepresent or misname calling it love, calling it a free gift. But our experience and our human brokenness is that it was actually a reward, or it was a transaction, or it was a loan, or it was bait, but it was not a gift. And so bringing that back to the Tim Keller quote and the video before about how sometimes in knowing people, it brings up our junk, our woundedness that we have to process so that we can love them. I may know that in loving them, I am making a choice and it is a free gift that I am giving them. And it's not about them, it's about what I am willing to give. But there are those sneaky thoughts, those subconscious thoughts that there are parts of me, wounded parts of me, that still hold that mentality of it has to be earned, or it has to be paid back, or it has to eventually be paid in full, or it has to be tied to a give and receive. And that's not what love is. But there are wounded places in each of us that it can get tangled up in. So when we learn something, especially if it's something that we didn't expect or disapprove of or disappointed in, it brings up all these little wounded places that you have to meet with tenderness to say, actually, no, it's not about them. It's about me making the choice to give irregardless of the reception and the receiver. I am giving because I have the freedom to give, and doing the work to kind of bust up those chains, to break and down the walls around the wounded places so that you have the freedom. But coming to a place where I am giving because I have the freedom to give, and I have the capacity, I have the resources to give this gift. And so the struggle in knowing and loving someone is not actually about the other person. It's about where I have capped my capacity because I have some things I need to work through, or where I'm unwilling to give from my capacity. And I feel like just going back to how do I view the Father's love? And there's probably some woundedness and brokenness in parts of me and my thoughts of that. And where have I labeled it love, labeled it a free gift, but then treated it as a reward, or labeled it as love and a free gift, but experienced it to actually be a transaction. And so I guess the challenge is to clean up our thinking around love and what it is and what it isn't, so that we can truly live our calling to know and love those around us. And knowing that there is nothing I can know about another person that can stop me from loving them, because that's a choice that I get to make, and it's not a reflection of them, but it's a reflection of my capacity. And just see, if you sit with that, see where it leads you. See if there is an expansion then in some of the obstacles and walls that maybe you've put up into truly knowing people around you. That it may call you to more. It may ask more of you, like we talked about in the other video. But that's not a problem if you have the capacity to give it. Love is not a reward. It is not a transaction. It is not a loan, and it is not bait. True love is a free gift, and it reflects the giver, not the receiver. Sit with that. See what comes up.